The last time I stood inside that house, it didn't feel empty. It felt like it was breathing. The wallpaper moved like lungs. The floorboards pulsed under my feet. And the voice that spoke to me from inside the wall was my own. It whispered, "You signed your name here. You belong to us now." I know how that sounds. I wouldn't believe it either. But remember this, when you find a house that seems too cheap, too perfect, too good to be true, think of me, because we should have never signed the lease. My name is Arjun, my wife. Mira and I were tired of tiny, noisy apartments and landlords who acted like they owned our lives. We wanted a real place, a gate, a garden, a house that felt like ours. But every place we saw was either too small, too expensive, or already taken, until we found this one. 3 bedrooms, wooden floors, big windows, on a quiet lane just outside the city, and the rent, half of what it should have been. The listing said, urgent. Long-term tenants preferred. When we visited, the real estate agent was already at the gate, middle-aged with a smile that was too wide and eyes that didn't quite match. He said, "You're lucky. Many people ask about this house, but it doesn't stay empty long." That sentence bothered me. Not that it gets rented quickly, but that it doesn't stay empty. Inside, the house felt lived in. You could see the photo marks on the wall where frames used to hang. The sofa cushions still had indentations. The rooms were arranged. Beds still made. Mira asked softly, "Are you sure nobody lives here?" The agent looked away. "The owners moved abroad. Left everything. Whoever comes next can use it." He spread the papers on the dining table. Old-style lease forms. Blue ink. "If you sign today," he said, "I can give you a small discount." Mira hesitated, asking if we could think for a day. He replied way too fast. "If you leave, it might not be here tomorrow." I should have walked away, but instead I picked up the pen. When I signed my name, I felt something strange. Just for a second, it felt like the paper tugged back. Like the house accepted we thought we were getting a home. It was getting something else. We moved in on a Sunday. Neighbors watched from behind their curtains, but no one came to say hello. Inside, everything was already there. Plates, glasses, old books on shelves, curtains on the windows. Mira said it was like the previous owners left in a hurry. That first night, the silence was the loudest thing. No traffic, no music, no neighbors arguing. Just a heavy, pressing quiet. And then around 1:13 a.m. I woke up. At first I thought it was the fan, or maybe Mira talking in her sleep. And then I heard it again. A whisper, almost just breath, asking, "Did you hear me?" It came from the wall behind our bed. I sat up straight, just staring at the paint. I whispered to my wife, "Mira, did you say something?" She was already awake, her eyes wide open, staring at the exact same spot on the wall. Her voice was barely audible when she said, "It's inside." We flicked on the light. The room looked perfectly normal. The next morning I laughed it off. New house, new sounds, our brains were just filling in the silence. But it kept happening, always late at night, always near the walls. It felt like the house wasn't just quiet, it was listening and answering. By the 3rd night, it wasn't just whispers anymore. It was words. I left my phone on the bedside table with a voice recorder running. At 2 a.m., I woke up. Not from an alarm, but from my phone playing something back. I grabbed it and listened. Through the static, I heard soft breathing. Then a male voice, layered and strange, said, "He's awake?" A woman's voice, more distant, replied, "Too soon." Then, I heard my own voice on the recording.com and completely wrong, saying, "We signed. We can't leave." I hadn't said that. I stopped the recording, my heart hammering against my ribs. Mira sat up. "What did it say?" she asked. I couldn't answer. Saying it out loud would make it real. The next day, I went back to the real estate agency. The agent looked uncomfortable the moment I mentioned the address. "Who lived there before us?" I asked. He swallowed hard. "A couple. And their daughter." I pressed him. "What happened to them?" He hesitated for way too long before saying, "They broke the lease. So they left." I asked. He finally met my eyes. "On paper, they never did. Their lease is still active." A cold dread slid down my spine as he lowered his voice. "The owners stopped asking questions. They just want someone living there, so the lease doesn't end." Back at the house, the air felt heavy, suffocating. I started noticing things I hadn't before. Tiny scratch marks low on the walls, like a child had dragged their nails. Faint crayon lines, half scrubbed away near the corridor. In one of the bedrooms, a pink curtain still hung. On the back of the door, there were faint pencil lines measuring a child's height. Rear -4 years, rear -5 years, and then nothing. No 6, no 7. Mira wrapped her arms around herself. "Arjun," she whispered, "I don't think they moved out. They hadn't left the house. The house had kept them. And now we were the ones who had signed." That night, we decided to leave. Forget notice periods, forget deposits. We'd figure it out later. We packed our bags quietly, trying not to listen to the soft noises coming from inside the walls. Around 2:45 a.m., the power went out. Not just the lights. Even the night sounds from outside vanished. No dogs barking, no wind, just nothing. We turned on our phone flashlights. As I aimed mine at the bedroom door, the door frame was wrong. There was no gap, no handle, just a solid wall. Fresh, smooth, perfectly painted, like the door had never existed. Mira's breathing turned sharp and ragged in the kitchen. The back door. We ran to the kitchen. The same thing, where the back door should have been, just wall, no lines, no hinges, as if the house had edited reality. I slammed my fists against it. Open. The wall answered, not with movement, but with voices. A chorus of layered whispers, male, female, a child, all overlapping. You said you'd stay. We don't let go of what belongs to us. In the flashlight beam, the paint seemed to ripple, like there were faces pushing from behind, mouths forming and then fading. We thought we were tenants. The house thought we were property. We sprinted to the living room. The lease papers were still on the table in a file, except they weren't blank forms anymore. They were full, line after line of names and signatures, with dates going back years. Some names were scratched out, some smeared. At the bottom was my signature, and under it, a new line had appeared. Duration. Until house releases. Mira grabbed my arm. It changed. Our unit changed. A whisper drifted from above us, childlike and echoing. They signed to. I looked up. For a second I saw them. 3 shapes, pressed into the ceiling like shadows burned into paint. A man, a woman, a small child between them, all with their heads tilted toward us watching. The lights flickered back on for half a heartbeat. In that flash, I saw something else. Our shadows. They weren't matching our movements. Mine was closer to the wall. Mira's was holding something that wasn't in her hands. When darkness returned, my legs almost gave way. We did the only thing we could think of. Mira snatched the lease. If this started it, we end it. She tried to tear the pages, but they stretched like skin. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a lighter. As the flame touched the edge of the lease, the house screamed. Not outside, but inside our heads. A deep, metallic shriek blended with distorted voices. No, don't we learn to? Don't leave. The papers burned slowly, like they were fighting it. As the flame reached my signature, the wall beside us split. A long vertical crack tore through the paint, from the ceiling to the floor. Through the crack I saw the front door. Our real front door. Run! Mira yelled. We ran, bags abandoned, that scream chasing us down the hallway. As we reached the door, my own voice, wrong echoing, spoke from deep inside the house. You will come back. You'll always come back. They'll do. We didn't look back. The moment we stepped outside, the sound stopped. The night returned. Crickets, the distant highway, a soft wind. The house behind us just stood there, silent, normal, innocent, like nothing had happened. We never went back. We lost the deposit, our furniture, almost everything inside. The agency said we abandoned the house and threatened legal action. I didn't care. We moved into a small apartment across the city. No history, no old furniture, no strange leads. But sometimes, when it's late, when the building is quiet and Mira is asleep, I hear it, my own voice, very soft. It doesn't come from the walls. Now it comes from my phone. Sometimes I wake up and find the recorder app open, a new file, always recorded at odd hours. When I play it, I hear breathing, and then, whispered in my exact voice, you left without signing out. We still remember your name. We think a lease is just paper. You pay rent, you follow the terms, you live your life. But some places, they aren't just buildings, they are containers. For memories, for fights, for fear, for unfinished stories. And every time someone signs their name, they're not just renting space. They're giving the place permission to learn them, to keep a peace. So if you ever find a house that is too perfect, too cheap, too ready, if the agent is too eager, the neighbors too quiet, the walls too full of someone else's past, ask yourself, are you just signing a lease? Or are you agreeing to let something remember you? Because we thought we were just renting a house. And now, somewhere out there, there is a place that still thinks we belong to it.